Assalamu alaikum. Just we need 5 minutes. Mr. Saeed Bhai will join soon. I will inform you. Okay. Just he need 5 minutes. Our
Sure.
brother, can edit your name because we are not seeing your user ID. Just like we already assigned the user ID, usage 019 like that. Can edit your name, please?
Mohammed, today is the first meeting I'm joining, so I don't know about the user ID. If you are speaking to me.
Hello, assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope I am audible to all. Yes, we'll wait for a few minutes and let's see if others are joining, and then inshallah we'll start the session.
Inshallah. Mr. Nosat, can I edit your user ID, please? With name.
sorry.
Abdul
who is the
Muqtadir.
first?
We already assigned the user ID, right?
No.
Yes, I will
Namaskar.
edit. I will edit.
Okay. Thank you, sister. Naushad.
Yes, I
Can you
will
hear
be
me?
editing it. Yes.
Okay, we'll start the session. I see that people have already joined the session, and let's start. And before I could start the session, I would like to first of all apologize that because of a few personal reasons and for the health, I was not able to continue the classes. But inshallah, henceforth, we'll have regular classes and we will try to finish it as soon as possible. And moving ahead forward, we'll have regular sessions and we'll understand, we'll have question answer sessions. We'll clear out the doubts if anyone is having related to the subjects we'll be discussing. And we'll try to finish it and we'll wrap it up. And then we'll be giving you even as discussed for the hands-on experience with the product training as well. Okay. So I want to understand the videos, the documents, and everything had been shared previously with regards to the first topic that we were discussing, the data models. Okay. Can anyone briefly explain me what data model is? What are the contents that it has? And have you all gone through the videos that have been shared in the WhatsApp, the document completely, which was shared as well? So who all got a chance and opportunity to look into it and what you have done, what you have understood? If one or two people can tell me, then we will take up question answers also with that. And today also we'll take one session with data models completely with the videos, and then we'll go ahead with others as well. Okay. Anyone can go ahead and can you tell me who's hosting it today?
Rehan with you.
Rehan, yes. Brother
Yes.
Rehan, if you can allow people if they are raising their hands and if they want to say
Yeah,
something
sure.
or if they can explain what it is. Okay,
I will.
thank you.
Sure. Anyone?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Yes, the data models we have gone through is a corporate data model and country specific data models and personal succession
Brother,
data model.
brother, your voice is disconnecting. Can you repeat again? Your voice is not audible.
Is it audible right now?
Yeah. Can continue.
Yes. The slide we have gone through, and the data models are corporate data model, country specific data models, and succession data models, and country specific succession data models. That's it.
Okay. May I know the name of the person who is talking now?
Rashid
This
was
is
talking.
Rashid here.
Yes. Okay. Very good, Rashid. Anybody else?
Yeah, Muhammad here, Muhammad Ghaus.
Yes, Mohammed Ghaus. Tell me,
Assalamu
brother.
alaikum. How's your health now today?
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, doing better. Yes.
What I understand till now is every company has two types of data. One is employee data, another is organization data. Whereas in SAP service factor, they divide into four categories. One is corporate data model, corporate country specific corporate data model, and succession data model, and country specific succession data model. These data, these all data models we can upload in the system through admin center will provide us XML format files. So we can upload the data through the provisioning.
Yes.
Am I right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
till uploading the data, we did it in the class.
Okay. Very nice. Okay.
One more
Anybody
doubt I
else?
have. One more doubt I have. But in the
Yes.
guide, they are remembering us. They are giving one reminder, like customer doesn't have access to the provisioning. So whether
Okay.
we can have access if we do this is employee central, we will
Yes.
get the
See,
access.
yes. That is the reason why there is customer and we are known as consultants and implementation partners for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Because customer will have access to instance, but he'll not have access to provisioning. Okay. The reason why we don't have is, for example, just for you to understand in a very simple and easy way, is you are using a mobile phone, right?
Yeah.
You can go to WhatsApp, you can go to YouTube, you can go to Facebook, you can log into Gmail. Other applications are there in your phone that you can. Okay.
Yeah.
But there is back end of this where the development of these WhatsApps and everything happens. Am I right?
Yes. Right.
Okay. Now you are customer, you have access to WhatsApp, which is the UI, the user
UI
interface
only.
that you
Yes.
can use. Yes. But you don't have access to the backend. What are the programs that they have used to build this? Okay. So all these things are there with the developers or consultants or the ones who are implementing it. Okay. We are
So
known as
after
consultants. We are
completing,
known
yeah.
as
After
we are known as
completing this, we will
implementation
become
partners.
consultant.
We'll become consultants, we will become implementation partners.
Thank you. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So I hope you have understood.
Yes.
So this is the difference. Okay. So the client or the customer will only have the access for UI. Okay. For any changes he wants to make, he will contact us. That is how the implementation partners and customers earn money.
Got it.
Okay. Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
So we'll go to others as to what they have understood with the product that we were, the details or the document that we have given to them. Whatever you have understood, you can tell. Plain, simple way, it's fine.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Yes.
Tufail here.
Yes. Tell me, Tufail.
Data model describe how data elements are structured in our database. We have two kinds like employment data.
Don't read, Tufail. See, don't read out what is written. Okay. It is not an examination or something. What you have understood with data models, you tell me that. Don't read out
Like
paragraph. Don't read out sentence. What you have understood, just tell me.
so where data have been data have been captured, that is the data model, and we have two kinds like employment data and organization data. In employment data, we have the details of the employee like everything, birth, address, nationality, and organization data where we have the data related to the organization, all information, and that divided into four parts like corporate data model, country specific data model, succession data model, and country specific succession data model. These are the four parts of it.
Okay. What is the difference between succession data model and corporate data model? Who can tell me what is the difference?
Hello.
Yes.
Succession data model is basically for the employees. We capture all the details of employee, their name, position, address, contact details. And corporate data model is for the company. In that we have divisions and account departments, and all the department related to the organization.
Very nice. Very nice. Yes. Anybody else?
Hina. Okay, Hina, you can speak.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum
Walaikum
assalam.
salam. Yes.
Yeah. Succession data model is the data of the employee. Nothing but name of the employee, job description, their performance, everything will be included in the succession data model. Then come to the comparative data model. Here it contains the information about the organization, like organization name, location, divisions, department, so on.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Now, who can tell me what is the difference between country specific succession data model and succession data model?
Yeah, country specific is nothing but it is related to the specific country.
Okay.
Yeah, succession data model is overall.
Overall, about the person. Okay. What is the difference between, let someone else answer this. Difference between country specific corporate data model and corporate data model? Yes. Whatever and how much you have understood, you can tell me.
The country specific data model is actually this specifically country. Like in Saudi, it's a Hama ID, Hama number, and in US there's a TAN number. This will be in country specific.
Yes. Good. Okay. What are the other things that if you have gone through the documents or the what do you say, videos that were sent, what you have understood with those things?
There are two systems, provision and instance. Instance is actually UI based.
Okay.
End user will be accessing instance, and provision is consultant have only access to consultants who is doing certified consultants can access the provision system.
Yes. There are two people who can actually, what do you say, access the provisioning. One is the implementation partners or consultants, what we call it as. Okay. And the second one is the directly SAP support. Okay. The SAP support team is there. If you have any doubts while implementing or doing consulting work for any client, if you are facing any doubts, you can directly contact to SAP. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now, anything else? Anything else that you have gone through?
We see the guide till chapter 1 in that index 4, 1.4 till 1.4.
Okay.
After that, I think we are some list, data list, something like this. So checklist, something I don't remember actually. Yesterday I see, so I left that one.
Okay. No issues. Okay. Now what we will do is I will play one video.
Now we covered only
Okay.
data models.
Okay.
So brother is telling that pick list. I don't think pick list we covered.
No, we have not yet started with the pick list.
Yeah, that's why I left. Yes, I remember now. Pick list was there, that 1.5. That is chapter 1.
Yes. Next, we will go to pick list only, but now we will go to, we will look into one video session, what and how this is, so that we understand in a better way. Okay.
Okay.
Let me play that video, please.
Job information, job
Please let me
description.
know if my screen is visible.
Yeah. So employment details like their first hire date, etc. you
Is
have
it
filled
visible?
in. So like
Yes.
Hello.
by looking at the
Yes.
screen
Okay.
or by looking at what added in the system.
Can you start
So
from beginning? Just
Yes. 1 second.
okay.
Give me 1 minute, please. I'll just start the video wherein you all can hear to the video. 1 second. Give me 1 minute.
Please let me know if my screen is visible to you all, please. Is it visible?
Yes,
Yes, it's
visible.
Okay.
visible.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll tell you what the session is. She's one of my colleagues. Okay, she has taken the session. She is explaining all the basic information that is there, which is related to data model. Okay, so we will go through this video, then we will ask the question answers, because what we have gone through with related, this is related to data model, that is employee data and organization data. So we will see this, then we'll have question answers, and I'll show you in regards to the material that I have sent you, what we can use and what are the questions will be asked. Okay, so mute yourself and you can listen to this. Okay.
Or what all elements or portlets you have gone through.
Yeah, while I just at that time, just log in with the first name, last name, and the personal information I added. Before that, I just add for which company and the business unit.
Yeah. So you have filled the personal information details, like the first name, last name, then comes the contact details. Maybe you have filled the dependent details, or you have filled the national ID, portlet, etc.
Yes.
Correct. And in the employment, so this is something related to the personal information of an employee. Correct.
Yes.
So when you go to employment, so what all details you have filled there?
The organization information, position information.
Yeah.
Job information, job description.
Yeah. So employment details like their first hire date, etc. You have filled it. So like by looking at the screen or by looking at what you have added in the system, so can you define what is employee central system in your own terms? What is this used for?
Storing the employee data information. So that is the importance for employee
Yeah.
central.
Basically, as someone told, like this is like we are storing HR data, basically personal information. We are storing employment information of an employee. So it's like when we are also going to a new company, so our HR will be collecting all our personal information details, like okay, the name details, dependent details, contact details, etc. And also specific to that particular company, like our job information related job, our pay grade, maybe our job title, our manager details, etc. will be capturing in the employee central system. So if you can actually just look at the structure of EC. So here, this part actually we were talking about the HR data. We have person and employment, and we have some other components also like foundation objects, the organization and pay objects. So this HR data, so this person and employment. So we have something data models we are storing or we are configuring this portlets or something. And we will more talk about this busy UI and succession data model today. Okay. So, okay, let me go back to the people profile. So if I look at this portlet, okay, in technical term, we call this personal information as an HRIS element. Okay. But for a customer specific, we actually call this as a portlet. So this personal information is a portlet, and this national ID is a portlet, biographical information is a portlet, like that we call. So when I go to this personal information, so you can see there are so many fields, this name, middle name, etc. And here you can see this is kind of a free text. It is an open text. I can write anything. Okay. And here you can see this one, the salutation is a pick list. Okay. I have few drop down values and I am actually picking one of these values from this. And also you can see a mandatory option. Like if I don't fill this, system will actually show a validation. Like this is actually a required field. Okay. So in order to configure, like we have seen, this is actually a text field, pick list, something, yeah, some fields we are actually keeping it as mandatory. So we have somewhere in the system, we are configuring this particular the portlet or fields, right? Where we are actually configuring this, it's like in the data model. Okay, so where we can find this data model in the system? Any idea? Succession data model. It's in the provisioning. So this is my provisioning system. So here I can actually see the data model. I can actually import or export data model. I can import country specific data model or corporate or country specific data model. Okay, so what is this provisioning system? So like anybody tell me like what is the difference between a provisioning and an instance? Correct. So provisioning, it's like it's a backend system where we can actually enable few features, where we can actually import or export data model. Our language packs can be enabled here. Like there are multiple, and of course the job can be scheduled in the provisioning, etc. And do you think all the customers would be having access to this provisioning system, or they'll be having
No.
access only to the instance?
Customers will not be having access to provisioning instance. It's their implementation partners who will be having access to this. So their customers will be having, as the end users, only access to the UI, only for the admin active.
Correct. So either the implementation partner, basically the consultants, or we all having access to provisioning, but a customer, they'll not be having access to, or customer, I mean, an end user, they'll not be having access to provisioning system. They can actually use the admins or the instance for their the activities. So here,
मैं बोली थी तेल की बोतल आज सोची जाने पर लेट को तो क्या था ना इसके मैंने कर दिया और उसको भी 30 रुपए का पाउच लेके आया ना इसमें क्या पे ये भी समय तो उसे पे जाएंगे तो मेरे को भी एक आईडिया और आ गई 4000 रुपए बताई कि ना निकाल लेगी
I can, if this succession data model is nothing but this import or export data model. So if I just click on this, I will actually get few options like import file or export file. Export file is basically we are downloading the file. Import, it's like we are actually making some changes and we are uploading back to the system. So when I import the succession data model, something like this is actually coming up. Okay. So do you think this is very convenient for a customer to use this? Because they'll even for a consultant, they'll not be having much idea on this this data model DTD framework, and they'll not be having I mean, it is very complex to find a particular element and use this. Correct? Okay, so for that, we have actually introduced another tool in the admin center or in the instance that is called Manage Business Configuration or Business Configuration UI. A business configuration UI will look like this. Okay, so the action type for this is like Manage Business Configuration. Okay, so if I just click on this Manage Business Configuration, I will come to this page. Okay, so here you can actually see this is very convenient for us to use. Like whenever we have some field to be enabled, we are actually going and enabling this field, or when we are actually like making some field mandatory, we are making the field mandatory, and job level or the field name, we can actually change it here. Same thing, we can actually do it in the data model also. Like we can change the label here, or like the first name, we can actually change the label here, or the visibility, the required, actually we can make it as true, or like that. We can, the same thing, whatever we are configuring in data model, we can actually do it in the BCUI also. This is actually for the HR data, person and employment data. Okay. So, okay. So when, suppose if a customer is implementing the success factor for the first time, okay, then they have to enable this BCUI, right? Uh, how we will enable this BCUI? That is again from the provisioning. Okay, so before enabling the BCUI, we have to add the data model into the system. So this kind of data model, we have to add it into the provisioning system via import export data model, and then we have to enable the BCUI. So, okay, so when I say we have to import or export the data, import the data model, then how will they get that data model from? I mean, do you think the implementation partner will go sit and write this entire code, or we can actually download it from somewhere?
Yeah, we can download from partners.
Yeah, we can actually download this data model from saphelp.com. So where we can download the implementation guide, our data model, the standard data models, or we can download the pick list, etc. We can actually download from the help partner community portal, and then an implementation partner, or yeah, they can consultant, they can actually modify this data model according to their requirement, and they can actually import into the system. So once they have imported, they can actually enable this manage business configuration or business configuration UI in the system. So how they will actually enable the business configuration UI? It's like, so in the company settings, yeah. So this enable manage business configuration in admin tools, and also enable generic objects has to be enabled. Okay, so once this is enabled from the provisioning, so there is something to sync the data from data model to BCUI. Okay, so what we have done is we have actually imported the succession data model into the provisioning system, and we have enabled the BCUI in the system. So once we have enabled the BCUI, or do you think all these fields, everything will be shown up immediately? No, there should be some sync between data model and BCUI. So for that, we have to schedule some job in the provisioning system. So that job is where we will actually see the job. Scheduled jobs. Synchronize business configuration. So this job we have to schedule in the backend or in the provisioning system to sync the data between the succession data model and BCUI. Okay, so this is just a one-time job. I mean, only we need to configure this for once. It is not a recurring job or something. So once we actually schedule this job, so later on, whenever we are actually modifying the changes in BCUI or XML, it will actually sync. Okay. So while doing the implementation or while doing the enabling of my business configuration for the first time, we'll have to synchronize this. We'll have to schedule this job. So later on, whatever changes we are making in the BCUI, it will actually sync to succession data model. Okay, so once we have actually enabled this or scheduled this job, so then we will be able to see the data in the BCUI. But again, so you just remember, so you must be remembering, like in instance, everything is provision, it's based on permission. So if you have permission, we will be able to access the different actions or even the people profile or like it's basically based on permission. So in order to access this page also, BCUI also, we'll have to give some permission in the system. So how we will give the permission? We go to manage permission role. We actually go to the system admin. This is this role. I mean, any role, the relevant role we can open. So, and then we have to give 2 set of permissions. So that is okay. So we have to enable this, the manage data, configure, yeah, for an admin, like manage configuration UI, all these permission we have to give. And other than that, so in this manage business configuration, so we have to add like what are the permission we need to give, like for each element. Say for example, for HRIS element. So I told personal information is an personal information or job information is an HRIS element. So we have to add the permission, like either view or edit, like all this permission we have to add it. Okay. So once we enable the permission, then we will be able to access this page and we can actually start working on this. So let me go back to my people profile. So I have told this personal information or job information, we call it as an HRIS element. So I'll just show you how this will be displaying in the succession data model versus BCUI. Okay, for example, personal information. So personal information is nothing but this portlet, where we store our first name, last name, etc. Okay. So you can see, can you see my screen properly? Yes. Yeah. So here you can see this is my data model where I have showing this one, and this is the BCUI screen. So let me open the BCUI screen of personal information. So here I can see the personal information here, personal info. So if I choose that, I can actually see all the first name, last name, all those, whatever we have configured in the gender, marital status, etc. Okay. So we'll just compare XML and the personal information, how it, BCUI, how it looks. So you can see HRIS element ID is personal info here. And here also you can see the element, HRIS element, the identifier or the code is personal info. And the label you can see personal information. And here also the label is personal information. Okay. And here, so this is HRIS element. And if you can see the first name here, this is HRIS field ID. Okay, this is field ID is first name. And here the identifier is first name and the label is here the label. It is first name and here it is the label. And you can also see with each one. So here I have the portlet or the element label is personal information. So along with that, I can actually see a lot of languages here. So that means we are actually providing a translation for each and every languages what we have enabled in the system. So here also in the BCUI, if we look at, so here you can see a translation button. So this button, if you just click on this, you can actually see in Chinese, this is called this way. In Portuguese, this is the translation for personal information. And whatever languages we have enabled in the instance, so we can actually see all the languages here, and we can, if we want, we can actually add the translations for each. So similarly for each fields also, we can actually add the translation. So for first name, okay, in Chinese, this is called this way. Okay, Portuguese, this is called this way. Like for each field also, we can actually add the translation. So same thing, we can actually find it here also. So here you are not seeing all this translation because I have actually deleted few in order to take a screenshot. But if you actually look at the data model, you can actually see whatever we are seeing the languages in the BCUI, it's all here. It's all in the data model also. Okay, so then so here we can actually see the field properties also. Maybe the visibility or the required, it's required means whether it is mandatory or not. Similarly, so once this is configured, and we will actually end the tag with HRIS element and the HRIS field also, we will just close it. Okay, so this is how it's actually we are seeing in the succession data model versus BCUI, like what we are seeing. So same thing, we can actually see it in the people profile, whatever we have configured. So we have seen the first name, that was actually a mandatory field. So for first name, we are actually seeing and this mandate asterisk mark. So for last name also the same thing. So similar, like whatever we have configured, we can actually see in the people profile, and you can compare the same thing in the STM and BCUI also. Okay, so if you can see the, this is actually what we have just explained, like the personal information, HRIS element. This is a personal info. This is actually the data model what I have actually downloaded from the demo system. So you can see there are some rules configured. There are the translations configured. And then how do we actually import or export this data model? We have already seen from the provisioning, correct? So when we actually go to SAP company, okay, so here you can see there are four different, so these are the four major data models what we have in the system. So one is data model. So this is nothing but the succession data model where we were actually seeing this thing, personal information, job, all those details will be showing in the succession data model. And the country, and another thing is the country specific succession data model. So that is basically if for any country there could be some requirements to have it's like some fields will be actually very specific to a particular country. Okay, so those things actually we can actually have it in the country specific succession data model. Also, like if you look at the national ID or an address, so these kind of the address, it's like the, I mean in India we actually have it as city, district, state, and all. But maybe for a different country, it will be a different. In US, it calls province or whatever. Like so, it's for each country there is a specific requirement or a field. It could be, or the national ID. If you can think of, like for each country, the national ID is different. So all these things we can actually configure in the country specific data model. So that will actually come in our later sessions. So we'll talk more on that country specific section data model that time. And then we have two more, like corporate data model and country specific corporate data model. So corporate data model, it's again to define the organization and the pay structure in an organization. And country specific will be to define the country specific features of these corporate data model, whatever fields they have. So if we go back to people profile. So I've told that we are actually, so in the succession data model, we are actually concentrating more on this personal information portlet and the not portlet sections. So here you can see personal information, ID, biographical, contact address, etc. And employment also. Employment like job information, organizational information, job relationships. So if you look at each portlet, so personal information, what we have in the personal information, it's like, okay, our basic details like name, marital status, gender, etc. we can actually configure. So ID would be this national information, work permit, like maybe some visa kind of information we can actually store in the work permit, biographical information where we store the personal ID, date of birth, etc. And other things like contact information or primary emergency address, dependents, etc. So when we actually come to employment information, so here we are actually storing the employment of an employee in the company. So that means so that will be specific to that particular company. And so here you can actually see the position. If that person is associated with any position, you can actually see the position details, the organization, which is the business unit, which is a division, department. And these are all, like, as I told, it is not mandatory to have all these fields or all these, I mean, it is not required. Like if you look at each customer instance, so you will see that um, these fields will be customized. Some of the customers, they may not be using this regular temporary field itself, or they will actually, what they'll do, this regular or temporarily, they will actually rename to something else. Or like also, so you can see, like I have just created some ABC, some field. So this is kind of a custom field, what I have created. Okay. And so this is kind of, we can, what I meant is we can actually do customization. So with the standard field also, we can actually um, use the same field, or we can actually rename the label, or we can disable the field itself. And if you want, if our requirement is to have more fields, then we can actually add more fields in the system, etc. Okay, so this is job information and employment details. This is one of the main sections. So here we are actually storing the hire date, or the original hire date, and some other, like, and also whether this employee is okay for a contingent worker. For a contract workers, we can actually see and another field called is contingent worker. So that will be actually to define whether that person is a contingent worker or not. So here you can see the contingent worker, it is no here. So that means this person is a permanent employee. And for a contractor, so that there will be contingent worker is no. And job relationship, they actually store the HR manager. Okay. Like HR manager, it's like more of an HRBP person for that employee, or a matrix manager. So those kind of relationships, we can actually store it in the job relationships section of a employee, or section in the people profile. So if I go back to the provisioning, so how do we import, or I've told before. So when we actually click on this import or export data, so we can actually see there are two options. One is import file or export file. If I just click on import file, and if I just click on submit, export file, and if I just click on submit, what I'm doing is I am actually exporting the data or downloading the data model. So the same thing, whatever I was showing, this is downloaded again. Okay. And if I want to import the data, so what I need to do is I have to select this data model, and I have to add some comment. So for example, if we are making some change, or maybe we are disabling some field, or if we are you know, making the field properties, we are changing something. If you're changing, then just add a comment like which is related to your changes. Maybe removed one field or remove that specified field, and we can actually submit it back. Then so here you can see there are the previous versions are available here. So initially it has actually added on 2019. So when I have, so later there was a change on 2020, later there was a change on 2022. So this is like, this is, we call this as a versioning. It's like, suppose I have added some data model into the system. Okay. So, but later I wanted to see what was there in the previous version. Okay, so I can actually come here and actually download the previous version. You can see version 3. So, so if I import, let me just import this. Not making any change, I'm just submitting the same thing. It's taking some time. Okay, so this is template added. So you can see I have added today's date and the version is 4, and I have the comment also came here. So like suppose I wanted to see what was there in the, like what was the details or what was the version previously. So I can actually go and download this particular thing, the previous versions from here. Okay, so I think it will actually store 100 backups. Okay, so okay, so that is from the provisioning on how to import and export the data model. Okay, so now with past 2 releases, we can also do the same thing from the admin center or from the instance. That means not importing the succession data model, but actually we can export the data model. Like, so if I just do export. So here you can see like whatever we are seeing in the provisioning, I can see it in the instance also. You can actually see the backup versions also, and the dates and who was actually imported the data, etc. We can actually find the same thing in instance also. But here you can see this is just export succession data model. So here we are not seeing any import button. Okay, so that means we can actually just check the data what is there in the data model, or for a customer, if they have access, they can export the data model and they can see like what is this details, and but they cannot make any changes and they cannot import from the instance. So for that they have to use the provisioning only to import the data model. Okay, so but if you actually look at I will show you one more thing. So I have told there are 2 more data models, that is corporate data models. So here you can actually see there is an import and export option for the corporate data model. But for succession, there is only export succession data model available. Okay, so here you can see what action you want to perform, import. We can actually choose the file and import, and we can export as well. Okay, so in order to have this page, access to this page, there should be some permission to be given. So what is that permission to be given? We'll go to, so in the permission, admin center permission, you can actually see export succession data model and export country specific succession data model. So these are the 2 permissions which needs to be enabled in order to have this have access to this page. Thank you, guys. Can you
Hamid
tell me
here,
like
just I have a doubt related to this. Whatever the changes we are making in XML, whether this will be stored in database as well?
Yes. Any changes that are being made will be stored as well.
Thank you.
So I hope the video was very clear in terms of succession data models, corporate data model, country specific succession data model, country specific corporate data model. In this video, it shows how we import it, how we export it, what are the permissions that are there, okay, how the XML looks and what it looks, okay. The basic idea that you want to understand how this is, it was clearly explained, okay. Any doubts that you have with regards to data models?
What is the difference in between XML file and my voice is clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah, XML file and BUCI. What is BUCI?
UCI?
UCI. BCUI.
BCUI. Okay. BCUI and the difference between XML. XML, as you know, as I was telling, there are two differences. One is we have instance and another we have is provisioning. Okay. Instance is nothing but the front end, that is UI. Okay. And provisioning is nothing but backend. Okay. Where the consultants, implementation partners have the access. Okay. Whereas the UI is the front end, whatever you have seen. Okay. XML is nothing but the backend. Okay, these are the codes that have been already written, standard succession data model, which is written in coded language in XML, which is already SCP is providing it to you. Okay, BCUI is nothing but the succession model, the succession data model, which is in XML language format, which is already there or provided by SAP, which you will be importing into the system. And once you have imported, I mean, if you want to see what are the things that you have imported, you will go to the instance in the front end to see. And the place where you can see this is nothing which is called as BCUI. Okay, it is nothing but business configuration user interface.
So
okay,
from
it is
both of
nothing
the
BC
from both ends we can configure through the XML also as well as from the BCUI.
BCUI also you can configure, yes. But the first step has to be from provisioning.
Okay, thank you. Got it. Thank you.
I have a question regarding job structures in corporate data model. There are no job structures at the present moment in corporate data model, right?
Yes, it is for example, and it is only for training purpose. It all depends on the requirement from the client side, how he wants to structure it. Okay, all the standard fields have been provided by SAP. If you want to customize it, you can customize it. If you want to make changes, you can make the changes. You can play around how you want to do it. It all depends on the client's requirement, how he wants to do it.
Like, because when you see, like, from what I know, you don't have any job structures in corporate data model, but in the document that you have sent, it talks about job code being added in corporate data model. And it also talks about if you want to import the data for corporate job code in corporate data model, you'll have to go to import foundation objects. But I think that's not available there. So I was a little confused on what kind of
that
code.
Yeah, in the next session we will see how to add it, how to remove the structure. It was just for you to understand the succession data model and corporate data model. Okay, how we make the changes, how we import it, how we make the changes in the BCUI, how we make the changes in XML, what are the structures that we follow, what can be removed, what can be added, what are the customized fields. We will look into the next sessions of video when we have. Then it will be clear how we can remove it, what names we can give, what changes we can give, what the client, as for one example, we'll take client's reference. If this is there, what we can do. Okay, and we'll do it in the next session.
All right, thank you.
Just
Yes.
Can you brief about HRIS?
Sorry?
HRIS.
Okay.
Just can you brief?
The HRIS elements that you're asking me?
Yes.
or what is HRIS you are asking?
Yeah, what is actually HRIS?
Okay. Your voice is breaking, brother. Ask me what it is, or you can type it to me.
What is HRIS elements? Can you just brief?
Okay, what are HRIS elements? Okay. Elements are nothing but basically, if I can tell you in a very easy and very, what do you say, understandable in the layman work. First, I'll give you the definition in the textbook. What it says, it is nothing but it is an information system. Okay, it is HRIS is nothing but human resources information systems. Okay, it is nothing but what it does is it has elements. For example, if the HRIS element starts with personal information, these are nothing but headlines. Okay, if you see it in the video, let me show you. In the video, we have personal information, employment information, job information, biographical informations. These are like headlines. Okay, and these are nothing but elements of HRIS. Okay, human resource information. Okay. So if I can explain to you in a brief way, elements are nothing but the headlines of the topics which can be used. Okay. So these are nothing but the headlines or the main topics, if I can tell it to you in a very easy language, if I want to tell it to you for a better understanding, it is nothing but the main information content. Okay. Say for example, if I can give you one simple example in the senses in index. Okay, in index we have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Okay, index is nothing but an element. Okay, now next, if I can give you personal information has name, first name, middle name, last name, date of birth. Okay, these are the personal information. Okay, personal information is nothing but an element. Okay, HRIS element. Then we will go to biographical information. Biographical information is an element. Okay, it is one of the headlines or the main topics. Under that, what it comes, which country you are from. Okay, what are your documents or your area, address, phone number, pin code. These are biographical informations. Okay, now if I have to go, first will be national ID. Okay, as a main, in that you have your Aadhaar card, your passport details, your voter's ID, so on and so forth. Okay, so these are the main topics or main headlines are nothing but HRIS elements. Under this, you have informations that is stored into that. Okay, this is nothing but HRIS elements.
So thank you
Okay.
very much. We can say portrait we can say portrait. We can say portrait
I'm
also
sorry.
this. For
Yes, we
the
can say
same.
portlet. We can say portlet. We can say field. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam.
Sir, is there any restriction for the number of custom fields for each? Like, if you want the new custom field, is there any restriction for the number of fields?
Usually when it comes to succession data models, okay, all the maximum fields that are required are already there, but there are no restrictions as such. But still, the SAP provides no such things. Yes, you can make the changes. Okay, say for example, in your name field, okay, how many boxes or fields that you actually need. Okay, you need your first name, your middle name, your last name. Okay, but still what SAP does is it will give you extra 5 more fields. Okay, if you want to make any changes, like if you want to add your nickname or your pet name, whatever the changes it does. I hope you get the idea what I'm telling. Okay, what are the standard requirements that the company needs was already provided, but still the SAP provides you extra fields for you to customize it, so it will always be extra only.
That means there is maximum 5 fields we can add. That's what you are telling.
No, I'm giving you as an example. There are others. Sometimes, I mean, it depends on what kind of field you want to make changes. Sometimes the restriction is only for 15 customized fields. Sometimes the custom field can go for these succession data models. You can go up to 80 fields, 90 fields, 70, 80, 100, 120 customized fields. Okay, there is no restriction.
Okay. What about the types, the types of the data which we can store? It's normal, everything like picture we want to store in that. It's anything like that?
No, you can use attachments. You can use attachments if you want to do that. You can in attachments there is Word that you can do. You can use it as PDF. You can use it images. You can do the attachment.
And thank you, sir.
Anyone more? Anyone have question more?
Yeah, sir. Just another question from me. Just how can we add that custom field? Can we have it again? Just for it, like
we have not done that part.
Okay, fine, got it.
We'll do.
We'll
do tomorrow.
Thanks, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we will do it tomorrow. Okay. So okay, thank you everyone. Inshallah, we'll meet up tomorrow and we'll have others.
Assalamu alaikum. Rehan with you.
Well, yes.
Just a person are asking about the instance. We can get the what the status for this one with where we are. We can get at least the instance for this one for testing and all things.
We will get it. We'll get it. Just wait. Sorry, because I was not and I was not available a few days. I was not in touch to get these things. What do you say? Expedited. Okay.
Yes.
But inshallah, we will, very soon we will inform you. Very soon.
Inshallah.
Okay.
Sure. Okay, guys. Have anyone have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Inshallah, we will see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.